What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos. Today is a sad day. I'm sure you guys have all been made aware of the current situation that's happening right now in the world. It is with deep regret that Mecha Frieza is getting an Errata. Thank the Lord. Now, I wasn't one of those people that was openly complaining about Mecha Frieza, but like low-key, I was super salty about the card. I'm not really one to complain about certain things like that. I just kind of try to innovate it and try to find as much change as I possibly can to make it more like a challenge upon myself to try to conquer something that is not being conquered easily. But in all honesty, like it wasn't easy to overcome that deck. I mean, obviously there were 3 different variations of Mecha Frieza. You had Mecha Veggies with the vegan package. You had the Mecha Apes, which was probably the more popular version, and you had the Mecha GT, which was like the big 2-turn kill deck. Now the Mecha Frieza leader was introduced to us back in the draft box. When we first got the draft box, it was one of the promo leaders, along with Vegeta, Majin Vegeta, I should say, Gotenks, and the Double Strike Goku. And honestly, like that leader has been seeing play since his inception. So it was a good leader prior to, you know, being able to abuse the apes. But when Set 3 dropped with the apes, it just got nutty. You know, and I was always in denial about it. You know, telling myself that it's not unbeatable. You know, you just have to get good, is what everybody was saying. You know, it's like the popular saying online, or you just have to find a way to beat it. But honestly, like I'm a Mass Saiyan player, and I felt like that was the best counter to that deck, just because the early game aggro was hard for them to counter over if they didn't open, you know, with the cards. But even like formulating my build specifically to counter yellow or to counter Frieza, I still like couldn't even, you know, win a match. Like I've never won a match against Mecha Apes. Mecha Veggies and Mecha GT, different. But Mecha Apes, I've never won a match against, which is crazy. Like I've picked up games here and there, and you know, best of 3s, and I've never been able to beat it in best of 1, obviously. But it was just too much. I mean, it was just too much. The ability to play an extra card by taking a life and not having to activate its energy cost and just plussing off of it for days was insane. So that's kind of just like my little rant on the card and my feelings on it. But the official Errata takes place on May 1st, so there's still a couple weeks left. You have the remaining month of April to really play the leader the way it's being played right now. So I'm expecting a heavy Mecha Apes, any type of Mecha variant field at San Diego. I'm not going to San Diego, but I think that the meta is going to lend itself to be playing Mecha just for that one last hurrah. So the official Errata, which we'll get into, we're going to get into it right now. Basically what it does, just by looking at it for face value, it slows down the leader and makes it more of a responsive, or reactive is a better word, defensive deck. It's not so much preventative, it's more reactive. Like you're reacting to your opponent's plays on defense. So basically what it does is the Errata on the front side, the first line of text says during your opponent's turn. So during your opponent's turn, you can activate an extra card by taking a life and reducing its cost by 1. And if you reduce the cost to less than 1, you can play it without its required specified cost. And then the final line of text says, if you activate this effect, you negate it for the rest of the turn. So it forces you, it's a hard once per turn on the front side. And it's only on your opponent's turn. So really you're only going to be activating stuff like Bloodlust, Crusher Ball, Senzu Bean, Nimbus, you know, which is still pretty good. You're not going to be able to turbo out your offensive plays. to kind of just like awaken turn 1 or turn 2 and just, you know, poop on your opponent from there on out. But defensively, it's still really good. Then obviously when you awaken at 4 life, you draw 2 cards, you flip it over. The backside is also on your opponent's turn, but it doesn't limit you to once per turn. So once you're awakened, you can do it as many times as you want. So I guess 3 times, because you can't put yourself down to 0. So you'll do it 3 more times, as much as you want, defensively. There's no offensive capabilities for the leader whatsoever. It's completely a defensive card. It's completely a defensive leader. But, you know, a lot of people are like saying that Mecha's dead. Honestly, I don't think it's dead at all. Like, sure, it makes it less unfair, if that's a good way to put it. Like, it's more of a balanced card now, but, you know, technically speaking, it's probably the best defensive leader in the game right now, because you could still play Cold Bloodlust, and you're essentially playing Cold Bloodlust for free. You could play Senzu Bean for free and untap 2 energy. That's still a really good play. You know, cards like Crusher Ball, you know, you just have to think outside the box. I mean, I feel like, you know, there's innovators, and then there's people that just kind of go along for the ride. Now, I feel like myself, I'm in the middle of that. I don't really consider myself like an innovator to the point where people are like, oh yeah, like, you know, Adrian built this deck and it's so good and we have to play it because he built it. No. But at the same time, I don't think I'm a copy and paste type of guy. Like, sure, you know, I would be lying to you if I said I don't watch other people's YouTube videos or I don't get ideas from other people. That's BS. We all do it. So, yeah, do I watch other people's YouTube videos? Yeah, absolutely. And they make some great decks. And do I try those decks? Yeah, absolutely. Of course I'm going to try builds that other people are having success with. But what I can say is at the end of the day, my build never stays 100% carbon copy from somebody else. I'll make a couple changes here and there. I'll make some tweaks depending on what I like as far as like ratios and play styles, because at the end of the day, we're all different players. We all play differently. Some of us are better aggressive players. Some of us are better control players. Some of us have really good luck and the RNG blesses us, and some of us don't. So we just have to stick together and not lose sight that we're all a part of the same community, and we're all going to be bouncing ideas off of each other for as long as this game exists. You know, complaining about something, yeah, I guess, you know, you have a voice, use it, but, you know, I'm seeing a lot of posts on Facebook right now where we just got the errata for Mecha Frieza and everyone's complaining about Cell Chain. Like you can't win. Like, something has to be complained about. I mean, is Cell Chain really good? Absolutely. Cell Chain is great. Discarding your opponent down to 3 cards, and then if you have the Android 16 super combos and you combo 3 times, you're putting them down to 0. That's devastating, but is it as busted as winning on turn 2 or 3 with a full board of battle cards that can block your opponent's attacks and not be destroyed by anything? Absolutely not. Cell Chain is very good, but it can be played around. Like, if you're playing an overrun mechanic, you can play around it. You know, there are ways to play around it. Is it as good as having 5 apes on board with blocker? Absolutely not, but it's still a very good effect. Do I think Cell needs to get hit? Not at all. Cell is 1 battle card in the deck, so you have to pull it, you have to draw it, you have to search it, you have to evolve onto it. Everything has to go right for you to play that card and for your opponent not to counter that play. But Mecha Frieza was a leader. There's no way of negating any leaders. There's only 1 card in the game right now that affects the leader, and it's I believe it's the Great Ape Bardock, the 6-drop that evolves, the EX evolve. I think he's the only card that really like stuns a leader for a turn. I believe, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but I believe that the EX 6-drop Bardock Ape, when he evolves, you get to stun the leader so they can't untap next turn. But everything else, you know, nothing really interacts with the leader at all. It's just kind of your main engine, pretty so to speak, and Mecha Frieza facilitating your plays was just ridiculous. So I'm really happy that the card was errata, don't get me wrong, because I do feel like it opens up the meta for more innovation, and it allows people to play those 50-50 decks. Like, I feel like personally moving forward, the meta is going to be established as SS3 Goku leader with literally whatever variant you want to run, because the leader is just so good. It's the best leader from the set, in my opinion. You can run SS3 Apes, you can run SS3 GT, you can run SS3 with pretty much anything. You can run a blue-green control. Like, there's just a lot of variants you can run with that deck. So I feel like that leader will see the most play now. That Mecha Frieza is not going to be as strong as it was. I think Mass Saiyan is probably the second best leader in the format, just because of that aggro. But you're finding yourself kind of like a similar pattern from what we used to have. Started that Goku was the best leader in the format, followed by Vegeta. One leader that untaps, one leader that does critical. So you're kind of seeing that similar pattern. Obviously, the Mass Saiyan leader is much different because it's a black leader, so it has a different interaction with a different mechanic in the game. But essentially speaking, I believe SS3 Goku will start, getting much more play in the meta right now, and will probably be, leaps and bounds better than any other leader in the game just because of its versatility. And Mass Saiyan will be a close second, and third is a crapshoot. I mean, you can have an Android leader at third. You can have Cell leader still really good. I don't know why people aren't playing it. Cell leader's really good. I think third's open, for experimentation and to see what hits and what sticks. But in my opinion, I think Pan is probably going to be the third best leader in the format. It is a really good leader. She has a lot of capability. She has a lot of interactions both on your and your opponent's turn. So I think you'll start seeing more play. But also, don't sleep on leaders like the Boo leader or the Yellow Bardock leader. We're still getting the draft box leaders. The effects are going to be revealed probably tomorrow. Or April 6th, I guess, whatever, depending on what day you're watching this video. But April 6th, we'll get the effects of the draft box leaders. That can all change. I think Ginyu, the set 1 Ginyu leader, is going to get a lot increase in play just because it's the best yellow leader that has access to Cold Bloodlust. But there's a lot of openness right now in the format, and I think it's the best time to take advantage and play something that's off the wall. If you want something to be good, you have to play it so it can stick. I mean, don't ever let somebody tell you that something is bad if you want to play it. Like, is it going to compete with Mecha Frieza? Probably not, but Mecha Frieza did just get errated. So at least there's a silver lining there, and it kind of extends the game past turn 3 and 4, which is what the pattern was lending itself to. Games finishing by turns 3 and 4, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to update you guys. I'm sure you have already, been made aware that the errata is taking place on May 1st for Mecha Frieza. But I just kind of wanted to put my 2 cents in on it. I wanted to give it a couple of days for people to settle it in and stuff like that. But, I think it's great for the game. I think it's healthy for the errata to take place because it's specifically going to allow people to be more creative when they're building decks. And it's going to give other cards playability. And you know what? It's also going to change the way Mecha Frieza is played. I still think it's a really good leader. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to play a deck with a Mecha Frieza leader after the errata just because I want to see how good of a defensive counter deck I can make. And I'm going to make that a challenge for myself. So we'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the continuing support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Hit me up on Discord. Hit me up on Twitter. Shout out to Computer and Gaming Universe and Shenron's Lair. Those guys are awesome. Please check them out. The info will be down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.